Yesterday, I put out a video, and I need to give some historical context and let you know that the name Trump was and evolved from Drump. So historically, Donald Trump's ancestral surname was Drump, and his grandfather, Frederick DRUMP, later angelicized his name from Frederick DRUMP to Frederick Trump. He emigrated from Germany to the United States in 1885. The name Drump was reportedly changed to Trump either before or shortly after arriving in America. There's no documented evidence that the name change was explicitly due to shame, but it was very common at the time for immigrants to Americanize their names, especially German immigrants during a period when anti-German sentiment was rising in the United States, particularly around the time of World War I. So Frederick Trump sought to assimilate, gain wealth, and build legitimacy through changes in his name from Drump to American-sounding Trump. The symbolic impact, the transformation from Drump to Trump is just not cosmetic. Trump evokes power, prestige, and dominance, as in a trump card in games. And so that's the game that Mr. Trump, our president, is playing. See, this change reflects an early aspiration toward building, image building, and status projection, something Donald Trump internalized deeply. See, social attitudes, legitimacy of wealth, whiteness, and status. Donald Trump's social attitudes appear deeply shaped by his family legacy of assimilation through elevation, moving away from immigrant origins and poor working class roots by projecting elite white European identity. So this is the reason why I have a video called Drumpsters, Drumpeteers, okay? Rich Europeans versus others. Trump often admires and aligns himself with wealthy Europeans from British monarchy to Russian oligarchs and expresses disdain or hostility toward immigrants from non-European countries and nations, especially black and brown countries, who he called blank hole countries. Marginalized groups whom he views as undeserving or un-American, this once immigrant family, reflects a worldview where worthiness is tied to whiteness, wealth, and Western European identity. It is an elitist, transactional view of value. If you're not useful to his power, you are disposable or threatening. So that conclusion, what all this means is Drump to Trump symbolizes a generation or quest to shed immigrant humility in favor of elite whiteness, wealth, and American exceptionalism. So he didn't come here wealthy. Donald Trump's identity is deeply wrapped in projecting strength, projecting race and weaknesses, and surrounding himself with symbols of dominance, whether in architecture, gold decor, or people like Elon Musk. Trump's worldview sees value only in those who reinforce his image, rich Europeans and billionaire tech mongols such as Musk fit the mold. Poor immigrants, black Americans seeking reparations or progressive reformers do not. The name change wasn't just American sounding. It was about becoming part of a class and a race hierarchy, one where power and Trump would always be synonymous. Now, his grandfather, Frederick DRUMP, 1869 to 19 1911, immigrated from Germany to the United States in 1885. When he was 16, he died in 1918's Spanish flu pandemic, long before Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany, which was in 1933. Fred Trump, Donald's father, and Donald himself have been the subject of scrutiny regarding their racial and national leanings. Now, Fred Trump, his father, was arrested at a KKK rally in Queens in 1927. He wasn't convicted, but his presence raised questions. Donald's actions raised questions. In the 1970s, Fred and Donald were sued by the U.S. Justice Department for racially discriminatory housing practices, refusing to rent to black tenants in their apartment complexes. Fred was also a major influence on Donald, instilling a deep belief in winning, dominance, and racial hierarchy, white identity as a form of superiority, rejection or multiculturalism, appeal to law and order as coded language for racial control. Now, from name change to nationalism, the symbolism, the name change from Drump to Trump wasn't just about easier pronunciation. It was about assimilation, shedding old world identity, power projection. Trump sounds strong, rich, elite, whiteness branding, escaping the stigma of German roots during wartime America and becoming a model white American. So, while Frederick wasn't a Nazi, the Trump lineage leaned into white supremacist capital mythology that mirrored Nazi ideas of strength, dominance, and racial purity without using the swastika. Now, let's look at this timeline. From legacy to authoritarian strategy. Early 1900s, Frederick Trump, grandfather Americanizes his name to Trump to assimilate and project elite status, an early move toward identity, rebranding, and power projection. That's why he's so great at doing this. 1927, Fred, his father, was arrested at a KKK rally in Queens, New York in 1927. 1970s, Fred Trump and Donald Trump are investigated for housing discrimination, laying a foundation of radicalized power dynamics rooted in control and over who belongs and who doesn't. 2016 to 2020, Trump presidency begins. Elon Musk and other billionaires are embraced as outsider experts who reinforce elite techno-nationalist values. Trump attacks mainstream media, calling it fake news, signaling an intent to reshape media loyalty. 2020, Trump attempts to ban TikTok, citing national security concerns. Now, 2024, Project 25 emerges, led by the Heritage Foundation and aligned with Trump-aligned conservatives. It outlined plans too. Now, he said that he wasn't aligned with it, but look what he's done. This is part of 2025 project. Expand presidential power, dismantle civil service protections, control regulatory agencies and DOJ, restructure media and tech oversight. Tell me it hasn't happened. 2025, efforts intensified to rebrand TikTok under U.S. control, supposed to be renamed M2, potentially placing in the hands of pro-Trump business interests. The move signals a direct attempt to control narrative platforms ahead of midterms. So the core Project 25 is the political infrastructure. TikTok M2 is the media tool. The ultimate aim is narrative and control.